Okay, I've been doing these for 39 years. This is my 39th end of financial year report. And over the last few financial years, I've been saying, wow, what a year it's been. Well, I tell you what, this has been the most explosive of ever. We just ended where we've had 40 nations around the world going to election. And of course, we had the two elections here, both state and federal, which was a big decider. I guess the biggest one we had was Trump being elected back in the US. And in the first 100 days, what chaos that has caused. The market itself is still firing here in WA. We've seen eastern states investors void from the market. Go figure that. They reckon that Victoria is a better place to be buying, but I'm so glad we live here. But that's great because it's eased up the pressure. But last week we've seen listings drop under 4,000 again, and I think as we head into spring, it's going to get worse. Fortunately, the vacancy factor for rentals is at 2.8, so that's eased somewhat, and that's pleasing. But with interest rates the first time heading with a trajectory down, we can see that real estate prices here in Perth are probably still going to keep going. And part of the reason that we do see property prices continue, and I would suggest for several years yet, is because we have a supply shortage. And that supply shortage has been exacerbated after COVID. The government today threw lots of money to the voters to give them incentives to buy, but they forgot about supply. And they tried to bring in the Aboriginal Heritage Act and try to constrain developers further. Thankfully, they're seeing the light of day. We're now seeing that they're looking at addressing the R codes. Hopefully we can talk the NIMBYs into being YIMBYs. Yes, in my backyard, because we need to free up supply. But the last big bastion that's stopping developers from moving forward is costs. Boots on ground, tools on the ground to get these places constructed. We've got too many shiny government projects competing for our construction. We've already got the mining industry competing, so the cost of building these products are going through the roof. Thankfully, this has just been sold and a great development will be occurring here. And as we see the machinations turning, hopefully that'll create an easing of supply. Broadly speaking, across regional West Australia, it's been pretty darn good. And the Vespers, those people, virus escapees seeking provincial Australia, still continue to push prices in regional centres. Indeed, Geraldton came out at the very top. We're in the top 50 in many categories across the nation in our regional centres. On top of that, you have broadacre farming looking very promising. Farm gate prices continue to look very good despite live export bans occurring. Grain prices look strong. Unfortunately, the gods haven't been too kind this year. Has been a late break to the season, but we still wait and see what happens come spring. It looks a pretty good year again across regional WA. Well, the commercial market is performing very well. Industrial is going through the roof with vacancies in most industrial suburbs at 1% because we've got land shortage, and post-COVID we've seen a huge use of warehouses. Go back prior to COVID, we saw a lot of owner-occupiers buying their own premises because interest rates were so low, it was cheaper to buy than rent. And we've also seen an influx of eastern states investors coming and buying warehousing. Offices, not so great. It is getting better, but smaller B-grade offices in the city particularly are still travelling around 15% vacancy. Once again, COVID, work from home habits, digital AI, that's going to disrupt the office market further. And on top of that, you've seen unprecedented growth in people taking family offices to work outside the usual zones, and they've set up offices. Well, we saw Mineral Resources in Osborne Park, but we've seen family offices in Cottesloe, Claremont. People are starting to take the workplace close to their home and out of that work environment. So commercial, industrial's fantastic, offices is patchy. So retail continues to be very patchy across the whole of Perth. There's places like Karrinyup that is just unprecedented in the facts and figures of that as retail trading. But you look at the inner city, that's pretty dead. There's a lot of people that have suffered since COVID and online shopping. Retail, it's very selective, but be cautious if you're purchasing retail. It'd be good to be looking at an ambidextrous use for that building. In other words, if that retailer folds, what can you use the building for after that? But retail, questionable. So in summary, 24-25 has been a pretty spectacular year for property. Not so spectacular if you're a poor first home buyer trying to break in the market. Some of my staff have tried 7 times unsuccessfully to buy their place, or if you're on the rental merry-go-round. So my advice is, if you can, beg, borrow and steal and get into the property market. I've been saying that for 5 years now, and I think it's only going to get worse before it gets better. We have a supply shortage. We have cost escalation. We have interest rates going down, which is going to cause more people to come into the market. We've got chaos going in global markets, complements of what goes across the other side of the world. And unfortunately, how that extrapolates usually is people in times of fright and flight, they go to 2 asset classes: gold, which does not pay the rent, and bricks and mortar. Perth, West Australia, we've still got budget surpluses, we've got full employment, things are looking pretty rosy here and will continue to do so. Onwards and upwards for 25-26. Thanks guys.